yes. Well, thank you for joining me today. Welcome to the Stroke Diva Fabulous Show. I am your host, Kamaria Richmond, and I am so excited about my show today. One, this is my second episode using a new platform for me called Riverside. And I'm excited because my guest is Dr. Darlene Williams. And sis, I never know how to pronounce your last name.
Pradas.
Pradas. Thank you.
Kind of like Prada, but ES.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, it's good.
I love
High
that.
quality, high quality.
Absolutely, absolutely. And today we are going to talk about Dr. Darlene and I are co-founders of a new book, and I want to make sure I get I get the name right. It is Destiny Expose, Leading Ladies Edition, and it's from the visionary Dr. Marcia Whitaker. And this book is a
Mm.
collection of 14 dynamic women. We're talking about leadership, we're sharing our personal stories, and book the book launch is actually this Friday at Busboys and Poets in Columbia, Maryland. And so check the show notes for details there on how you can participate. But not only is Dr. Darlene an author, she has another book that's coming out in 2025. We're going to talk about that. But yes, she is a coach, a mentor. She has spent years just working in a different capacity. But one of the really things that I'm really excited to talk about is that she is the podcast host of the Relationship Matters. And I was a guest on her show a few weeks ago. I had a good time. I was like, relationships, but we'll get deeper into that. So, and I want to mention she's also my soror. So, hey, soror, thank you for
Hey,
joining me.
soror. Hey, soror.
Hey! So let's get started, Dr. Darlene. I mean, you and I have just been working together over the process of the last couple of months getting ready for this book launch. But before we talk about Destiny Expose, share with our audience your personal history. And you and I have connected because we've had some of the same challenges, but I love for my guests to share their personal stories because you just never know who you are going to help. So tell us about Dr. Darlene.
Well, my journey to becoming a doctor uh was not short. It wasn't the simple, okay, you get a degree, you get a degree, you get a degree, and you're done. My journey came with starting college at 17 years old at Southern University in Baker, Louisiana, and majoring in journalism. I wanted to be that traveling journalist or roving reporter, as they now call it. And I wanted to travel all over the world. And in my mind, my plan was very simple. I lived across the street from WBRZ Channel 2 News. So I was like, okay, here's my inspiration. And the kids in my neighborhood, we all played on that field. We played baseball, we played football, we practiced our track. And it was exciting for me to one day stop one of the guys coming out and ask him about what's going on and what do roving reporters do. And he gave me the whole layout. And I was like, that's it. That's what I want to do. That's how I want to live. But the journey I didn't want to take alone. I wanted to take my parents. And unfortunately for me, both my parents passed away. So I
Oh,
was never able to take them to the places because my mind was already set. I read the entire Encyclopedia Britannica and I was on every trip imaginable with those books. And so that journey took me from, okay, I'm going to be this to joining the United States Air Force, serving in the Air Force, going some places that were really, really nice and still wishing I could have taken my parents. But being an only child and having no siblings, and both sets of grandparents are deceased, and having no cousins, it made life difficult because everything was on me. how I would live, where I would go, what I would do. It was not like, oh, I could pick up the phone and call my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother. It was more, okay, so I guess I gotta do this by myself. And I spent a lot of time doing things by myself. And I know everybody knows that when you're doing something, you can compare what you see. The vision's not the same. If you looked at the Eiffel Tower and I looked at the Eiffel Tower, yes, we're going to see this tower, but there's something I'm going to miss that you're going to catch. But when you're going alone, no. So I started building relationships with the people in my military group and outside of that. So when I wanted to do something or go somewhere, I was like, hey, you want to go do this? So I learned how to surf. I I went deep sea fishing. I went parasailing. I just tried everything that my brain could try and not be afraid of anything. And that led me to get another degree. And then I got married. And that led me to get another degree and I got divorced. And along the way, I got three kids, two sons and a daughter. And by the time I got to my master's degree, I was still married to someone. Now I had three kids and dogs to take care of, and the whole gambit of what you build up in your life. And then there was another divorce. So by the time I hit divorce three, I was kind of going, yeah, this doesn't work. But I did not recognize at that time, and what I've now recognized decades later is there was pain traveling everywhere I went with me. There was
Mm.
there was all of that traveling and the blocking of you're in pain because at my mother and my father's funeral, I never cried. I held it in, and I held it in for almost 30 years. And then when it was finally released, well, by then I'd had three divorces and three kids, and my dog was dead, and but it was good that I found out before I entered the next. So I knew how to enter relationships. I wasn't entering them with a sending my representative, as I tell people, where you have the facade on of I'm so happy and everything's great. I became more honest and more forthcoming. If something hurt, I let people know it hurt. If something made me upset, it upset me, whatever that was. And I began to have a real relationship with self. And I became a relationship coach. And I remembered all 10 of those things that my parents taught me that were core values. And the first thing is if you can't love you, you can never love someone else.
Absolutely.
So here I
Absolutely.
am.
Oh my goodness. It's just that's such a powerful, powerful story because I mean, really what it boils down to every day is the relationships that we have with our creator, with our family, our friends, our coworkers, uh, our partners. Everything is really about relationships, and if you don't have that healthy start with yourself,
Yeah.
you definitely you're not going to find it in someone else. And I know we've all heard it. You know, you have to work on you, and people say, "Oh, well, it's not you. It's
It's
not
me.
me." Right? That
It's
whole
not
thing.
you, it's me. And and
Right.
and and to be honest, sometimes it is the me. And people can
Right.
recognize that. But there are other people who don't recognize. And that's where I tell couples and clients I work with, this is unhealthy. And they're like, but no. It's like, yeah. Because she doesn't recognize who she is, and you don't recognize who you are. And I'm looking at both of you going, who are you? You know, what and so I make them do this whole survey. And when I look at what their goals and their dreams are, none of it matches up. None of it matches up. And you say to yourself, okay, let's see if we can work through picking it apart. And the way I started is I do them one at a time and then I bring them back together because I need to make sure that I am giving attention to the person with the most severe whatever it is. And then that person can go, oh, I didn't. Know that. One of the big things that I say to everybody is listen to understand, not just to hear. And I had someone say to me, listening is a skill, and it is. Because if you're hearing, but there's no empathy behind that hearing, then you're not listening.
Oh, that's such a good point. That is such a great point. And so, and because you are the relationships guru, um, let's just delve in a little deeper. What is it you think, Dr. Darlene, that is at the root of most relationships? We all say, "Oh, I just want to be happy," and
But your happy cannot rely on someone else. You need to
yes.
be happy by yourself and with someone else. They don't complete you. God created us in his image, so we're already complete. You understand? So when you try to get some human to complete you, God is offended. He was like, No, I completed you when I put you here.
Mm,
He's a helpmate. They always say, when you're married, somebody, it's a helpmate. It's not you. They're there to help you, but it's not you. It doesn't make you whole or half because you're already whole. But
mm,
that says that there's an insecurity. I don't love myself. There's something going on, imposter syndrome, whatever it is, there's something going on. Or if a person's constantly trying to defend their position, why are you trying to defend your position? Why? I mean, if you're okay, and I tell people boundaries, and some people hate that. Well, what do you mean? Well, I mean, if example, if John walks in the door with muddy shoes on your carpet, is that okay? And see, that's a minimal thing, right? That's a minimal thing. Well, I mean, it's no big deal. I could just clean. Wait. Why are you cleaning the carpet? If John's shoes had mud on them, he knew he walked through the mud. He's an adult. John should take off his shoes before he enters the home because he knows that you have white carpet.
yes.
Why are you getting up to do that? Because I always do. Boundary. John,
Boundaries.
your shoes are muddy. They were muddy before you hit the front door. So, what you need to do, John, is take them off and walk in your socks. Then you can go back out and clean them with clean shoes on. And there you go. There's no muddy tracks going to the kitchen or and that person sits there and goes, "Well, I didn't know that was a boundary." Okay, so now we need to figure out
Mm,
where the lines are. John has no problem with
right.
boundaries. I want to watch football and you can't bother me. This is what I want to eat when I come home. Make sure the kids are asleep so we can have quality time. He's got boundaries. I don't like women who smoke. I don't like women who drink. So he's got a myriad of boundaries, but she has none. And of course, these are fictitious names, but
Right.
these are
Right.
scenarios. If she has no boundaries, then what is the background and what is the training and what is has she visualized? How has her life been from a child?
Oh, because it's that Cinderella. It's that
You
Cinderella
know,
story.
remember, I love
Gets us
asking
every
people,
time.
what was your dream when you, oh, I wanted to get married and he'd be handsome and he'd take care of me. And I'm like, huh. So after we come out of your fairyland, what was your real dream? And they kind of go, no, that was a real dream. And I tell them, if you ask me anything I want, I'm going to tell you the truth. Well, what was your dream? It was never to get married.
Mm,
I wanted to adopt like Miss Baker. I wanted to have all these kids, right? I wanted to have all these kids, but I wanted to adopt kids without the husband part. I wanted to have dogs and a couple of cats and a couple of birds. I wanted to travel the world and see everything known to man. I wanted to walk on the Great Wall of China and be able to stand and see the rest from
wow.
a distance. I've been a poet all my life, so I wanted to be able to sit on the Great Wall of China and write poetry. I wanted to go to the Taj Mahal and write poetry. I wanted to go on a spiritual journey where I went to all these different countries, including Thailand, and experience what they do, how they do, and why they do. And
Mm.
she just kind of stared. She goes, "Wow, that's a lot." I said, "Yes, and I don't need a husband to do that. I can take my own spiritual journey." I
Mhm.
said, "But there are boundaries, there are lines in the." I said, "Think of it this way: your life is a runway. Every plane can't land here." I
Yes.
said, "Because some planes are big body planes, some planes are Cessnas. Which are you? Do you take big body planes or do you take Cessnas?" And
Yes.
she thought about it and she goes, "Oh my God, that's an interesting metaphor." I said, "Go Google it and you will find out every plane can't land on every runway." I said, "A good example: Hawaii, Hickam Air Force Base has a very short runway.
Mm.
So every plane can't land on their runway because if they run out of runway, they go into the ocean.
Wow.
So you've got what's your runway like? Is
Yes.
it lengthy, which means you have no boundaries, or is it short, which means you have boundaries? They have to stop. There has to be a stop sign at some point.
Absolutely. Oh, see, Dr. Darlene, this is why I'm so glad you're here. I mean, for most people, the angst of their life is about, relationships, whether they are, you know, casual or or lifelong. Because we all know we have those seasons that people are in our life, and
Yes.
it just and sometimes you really do need a coach to help you kind of get out of the way. Sometimes to have someone else see the perspective a little bit different. And you are, I mean, I know your faith is important to you, and so you come up with faith-based solutions. And so for those that are in relationships, because yes, they do matter, what is your approach?
It will always depend on the couple. I customize, which is really strange. Because when I talk to a lot of my colleagues, they're like, "You do? I said, it's not." I said, "I think of couples when they walk through the door because I don't discriminate. So
Mm.
I have a gay or lesbian couple walk through my door and I don't freak out. What I do is I separate them and there's a conversation. I'm not talking at them. I'm not telling them what to do because that's not what coaches do. What
Mhm.
coaches do is they find out what's in you because your answer's there. You
Right.
understand? It's here. You know it's here, but you have to get this and this to match.
Yeah.
And even when they come in and they look at me and they go, "Well, are you okay that we're gay?" I was like, "Is there a problem here?" And they're
Right.
like, "What do you mean?" I said, "You're asking me a question that makes no sense. You're already sitting in my office.
Right.
If you if you weren't welcome when you called me, I'd have said, and hung up the phone." And they start to laugh. I'm like, "No, look, understand something about me. I love everybody. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter because it's not my job to hate somebody. It's not my job to hurt people. It's my job to heal people from
Yeah.
the inside out." I said, "You may be gorgeous on the outside, but what's on the inside? What's on the inside?" I said, "If you use a ice cream sandwich, for example. Now, some people are not a fan of chocolate, but on the outside of that ice cream sandwich is chocolate. So there are organizations who have made on the outside, oh, there's vanilla wafers and there's lady fingers and there's ice cream in the middle. So people go to the freezer to pick the one they like.
Mhm.
If you're pretending that what's on your inside matches what's on your outside, then you're misleading the person you're with.
Ooh.
If you're not, and that's what I call sending your representative. And when we go on that first date, they're always so sweet. They're pulling out chairs and opening doors, and you're like, "Ooh, girl, and he fine too,
Yeah.
chill." And then about 3 months down the road, This is a guy who picks his nose at the table.
Right.
He has food in his teeth and he talks with food in his mouth. And he likes to overindulge in a little libations. And you're like, wait, where the guy from 3 months ago? No, it's still me. Mm-mm.
Yes.
No,
Oh,
I
that is
said, I
true.
tell couples, date, you're getting married. And I do marry couples all the time.
Yes.
Date forever.
Oh,
He is
good.
forever your boyfriend. You're forever his girlfriend. Date forever. I don't care if you have 100 kids. Date forever.
Oh, I like that. I'm making a note of that. Yeah.
Date forever. I said, when you date forever, the way you treated her in the beginning is the way you need to treat her all the way through. She is going to expect what you gave her at first, not what you turn around and give her afterwards. Not the I'm going to sit on
Absolutely.
the sofa and eat and drink myself until I'm 350 pounds, and then all I want to do is watch the game. Not that guy. Stay in shape with her. It's easy. You have to walk. Walking is the easiest thing in the world. Hold hands. Talk and do talk about those moments that, oh, remember we met and your hair was like this. It was so cute. Or it was funny. And you're talking about it. There's events where people just meet people at parties and they realize, oh, we click. And now you've sat all night in a corner talking to that one person. Or on the other side of that, someone you meet, you didn't like them at first. You really didn't like them. You and I've had couples like that. She didn't like him. And he just kept pursuing. And
Uh,
now they're married. And it's a happy marriage because she realized he really was, because he was her opposite, he
mhm.
made her laugh. He made sure when she cried, he was there. There was nothing he would not do for her. She has called him on the phone. Something's going, he will say, I'll be back. And he'll leave his job to come home to find out how he can take care of her.
Mm.
And when she's calm, he goes back to work. That means I've got a heart for you. It's
Yes.
not physical, it's here.
Yes.
It's right here. So now she feels safe. She feels secure. She doesn't have a doubt in her mind. Maybe he will make. She already knows what he's made of. And
Mm.
on the same side, you have women who they'll put that guy first, and he's never been put first. Everyone else puts him last, but she puts him first. What would you like on your plate? What would you like to eat to dinner night? Hey, you want to go take a walk with me? Let's go just take a drive. And he's not accustomed to that. So now he's getting into this thing. Well, if you start that in the beginning, keep it going
Absolutely.
because that is the security blanket that says, hmm, there doesn't need to be anybody else. Everything I need is right here. I've got me, I've got them, I've got God. If
Yeah.
you've got all three, then you got everything you need.
Absolutely. Oh, I was like, well, what are some good tools, uh, tools of the trade, and some good tips, and you just gave us a whole, a
Well,
whole
there,
word.
you know what? I have
Yes.
all of my couples. I take there's certain steps that all of my couples have to go through. All of
Mhm.
them. They're I call them my standard steps. Number one, the survey. Number two, the love language argument language test. See, because
Oh,
there's a love language, there's an argument language, and then there's a forgiveness language. How do you forgive? Does your forgiveness come with consequences? Mm,
ooh.
see, then they get, I teach them how to do couples prana breathing, which means that they breathe together back to back until they have an actual rhythm. That means that both of their hearts are beating at the same rate, they're breathing at the same rate, their mind is now relaxed because they're leaning on each other. Nobody's pushing back. It's they're sitting and they're leaning and they're comfortable. And that positive energy that
Mhm.
they're now creating becomes both of them.
Yes.
So Even if they're in the bed sleep at night, they've created this way where they can positive energy. He's not negative and she's positive. She's not negative. No. Then I have them read to each other. And I've chosen a certain book. One, because it makes perfect sense. It teaches you how to go through a relationship by teaching you someone else's story. And I have them read these 7 chapters to each other. They journal, but they don't share their journal until they get back to me. And then we have an open discussion because I've read this book now about 7 times. They have an open discussion about this chapter and that chapter. And then that next step is the 40-day love journey. And the
Mm.
40-day love journey is a Christian based book. And every day for 40 days, you have to do what it says. And then you find out a whole lot about your partner and about yourself and your fortitude in your relationship and where there may be a weak spot or not. Then I make sure that they do couple exercises together. And that means pretty much anything. They can exercise, physical exercise, or they can do something else, but it has to be interactive and it's just them. It's not them and mom, it's not them and the kids, it's just them.
Mm.
And technically what it is date night.
Right.
Every take it, pick a day. That day is just and pick a time just for you guys to reconnect, to reconnect. And you pray together. Always pray together. Always pray for each other and together for everybody else. And it's based on when two or more agree on anything, it will be done. Not it might be done, it's kind of done. God doesn't do that. He said it will. And there's nothing that he lies about. If he says it's going to be done, it's going to be done. Now, it might not be done tomorrow when you want it done, but that just may mean he's preparing you for whatever you just asked for. Let's be realistic. We ask for huge things sometimes, and it takes a while to go down that track. Why? He wants to see, are you going to have a good attitude, a good latitude, or good altitude to receive what's coming your way?
Mm.
Or are you just going to get it and then forget about him? And that's not what we want. We want to get it and we want to thank him constantly because we didn't have to be here. I say this every day to my kids when I talk to them, either by text or by phone. Somebody didn't wake up this morning, somebody didn't come home last night, but you are here.
Yes. Yes.
And this is a restart. And when God gives you a do over, this video game is phenomenal if you just do what He asks you to do. Nobody's saying be perfect. He recognizes that's not going to happen, but do your best. Do your
Absolutely.
best.
Absolutely. I love that. Those are some solid tips on date dating forever. And I love that, everything is interactive. So you just, you're doing it with a purpose. Because I know for you, purpose and commitment are truly part of your pillars. But you're an entrepreneur, a speaker, a coach, and I love your website. It's the Superior Love Forever. So tell us about the Superior Love Forever and how that relates to your
Superior
business.
Love Forever came about because I love my kids. Like, I really love my kids. Uh, and I love my parents. And even though they're not here, every once in a while I find myself going, Mom, really? Sometimes, you didn't hit me to this game. And I recognize that at 16, she wasn't trying to pour all of that in there. I think she was hoping that she'd wait until I was, 20s and 30s and we could have dinners and we could have these real serious talks. We just never got to that point. And so for
Mm.
me, it was like, okay, this is awesome. This is fantastic. I can do this for other people. That's what I thought. Well, if I can do this for other people, I'm good. If I can be superior for other people, if I can help them love long love, like my parents love, really long love, lasting love, and show them it's not just the good old days. It can be right now. And I've
Oh, that's
started pouring
important.
that love into my children, and I started pouring that love into my friends because I recognize that some people don't understand what love is. It's not, I agree with you on everything. Let's
Yes.
be real. Because some people will tell you, well, if you agree with me, that means you're a friend. No, if I tell you the truth, that means I'm your friend.
Yes,
If I lie to you, trust me, I am not your friend. So I'd
absolutely.
rather tell a person, that's really inappropriate at this point, and I don't tell them in front of people. Um, and so I learned, I said, you know what? What is the greatest thing I could ever think of? God.
Mm.
I have gone, I've had a mini stroke. I've had a heart attack. I flipped over 3 times in a car. I've had breast, brain, and uterine cancer. I've been beat up and I've been set on fire. I've had to live in a hotel. I've had to live in my car, and voila, I'm
Mm.
still here.
Yes.
So, what's more superior than his love? That is the most
Absolutely.
superior love you could ever find, and he doesn't stop. It doesn't just start when you're born, and it doesn't just end when you die. It's for all eternity. It does not stop. Hence, superior love forever. I have so many things to be grateful for. And just like any other human, I have so many things I will, come on, dad, you can't be serious right now. You know, you can't do this right now. And that's kind of like, the thing we are going through with the book. And we're like, no, not that, and all of a sudden you go, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be
Right.
fine.
It's good.
But your brain explodes because you're like, wait a minute, what just happened? And I love how, our fearless leader goes, oh, we're gonna make a pivot. It's like,
Yeah.
no, that's a chart. That's a chart. A pivot is a chart in Excel, which I hate. But this is not a pivot. This is like the turn that's going down a pipe in a circular. But we did make the pivot
Yes.
because we all stood
Yes.
strong saying, we're gonna do this.
We're gonna do it. And you,
And it's
yeah.
gonna and God elevated it.
Yes. Yes. I
He
mean,
elevated it.
now we have something completely different. But I love, Dr. Darlene, that you are sharing your story because, as you and I, when we were talking last week, I mean, neither one of us look like what we've been through. And, I was like, oh, you're my sister for life because we know how the brain works and we can laugh and,
Look, and
crack
laugh and
up
forget
about the
stuff at the same time. It's like, I forgot what I was gonna say about 30 seconds ago, but that's okay. It'll come back later.
It's okay.
It may pop up
Coming.
like this.
It's coming. But and it's so important for people to be able to hear your story. You see, this woman, she's educated. She's, in relationships. She's had significant health challenges, but yet she's an author and a coach, and an entrepreneur and a speaker and all the things. So I've always believed that our stories matter. Like I love sharing my story and I'm putting it in the book and I'll just kind of pivot to Destiny Expose, which drops Friday, September 20th. Woohoo! We are so
Yes,
excited.
indeed.
We have, things planned for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We know we have a whole book launch thing coming. We want this to be a bestseller. But our other co-authors, I mean, every woman is a powerhouse
Yeah.
and just has so many stories. I know. I just can't wait to get into it. But Dr. Darlene, tell us about your chapter with Destiny Expose.
My chapter is loss to leadership to legacy.
Mm.
And it's all of the loss that God helped me through that helped culminate me leading other people versus focusing on, oh, poor me. It
Mm.
was never, I was, my mother was never the one. I heard other people's mothers say this, oh, people in other countries are suffering worse than you. My mother never said that. My mother would say, look in the mirror. What do you see? I see me. I see you. She said, see right there? You see who you see? You see me and you see you, right? I said, yes. It's not a bad day, it's a good day. Because
Wow.
you have yourself looking back at yourself to let you know I'm here.
Yes.
I serve a purpose and I'm going to walk in that purpose. She never told me, she never tried to guilt me that, oh, somebody in some other country is doing, no, she never guilted me. She just made it make sense.
Yes.
You don't need a pity party. It's not helping anybody. When you're feeling bad, help somebody else. Trust me, it'll make you feel good. You never know what someone else is going through. You could be walking into a room where somebody just feels like suicidal, and all you had to say was, hey, how are you? Hey, my name is, what's yours? Hey, oh, you want to get a snack over there? Let's go get a snack. Or let's take a walk. And just total stranger, just talk to them. You
Mm.
could save their life because they realized in this world there's one person who cared about what I thought and
Yes.
what I felt. It's
Yes.
that simple. It's not, I tell people it's not difficult to be compassionate. It
Absolutely.
really isn't.
Absolutely.
So with my chapter in that book, the loss never outweighed the leadership. It led me to lead. When I started leading, I was young. I was actually in, I want to say, second grade. And I played violin, viola, cello, piano, and sang and was in plays. And I was always going, okay, we can create this and we can do this. And the other kids are kind of looking at me like, I don't know. And I'm like, yeah, I just created this whole play and I wrote this whole poem and here's how it's going to work. And that was the start for me. But on the other side of that was bullies, where I got a gash over my eye. I got pushed into open face fan. So
Mm.
yeah, it balanced out at the end of the day because then I became the president of my junior achievement company where we sold salt and pepper shakers that looked like hourglasses. And I was leading a whole team. I had a vice president, I had a director, I had a secretary, I had a bookkeeper. I had all these kids working with me to build this little company. And we did sell and we had a great time. I went on and did other things from that point where here I was, the youngest person working in a construction company doing their books. So everybody had to come to me. I'm doing the paychecks. You got a teenager, she's doing the paychecks, she's setting up schedules at a young age. So I'm constantly leading. And then the legacy. What I leave my children when I hear my son, especially my oldest son, say to me, I earned all of these degrees because I watched my mom do it while she's taking care of three kids and taking care of pets and taking care of a house. And still, she had the energy to come watch me graduate from basic training in the Air Force, drive to St. Louis and watch my brother graduate from the Army basic training, and make sure that she went to every one of my sister's basic trainings. She didn't say, "Ugh, I'm too tired."
Right.
I watched my mom get up at 4 a.m. in the morning and not go to bed until midnight.
Wow.
You are the example. You are the matriarch, and I love you to the moon. And my son saying that to me was like, whoa,
That is so
you've been to
beautiful.
war, but I no, you've been to war, mommy. You've been to war. And you don't look like you lost. You look victorious. And
Yeah.
so I just look at him, every time we're together, when I go wherever he's stationed, when we're together, it's like we're kids. I'm not the mom, he's not the kid. We're kids because it's like, oh, look at this and oh, look at that. And man, let's and I know when I visit him in Germany, He gets off from work at 6. And then he goes, let's drive to Cologne. I said, it's raining. He goes, that's okay. And he says, tell me what you want. And I said, pommes frites. And he says, oh. I said, that's what I want. I want French fries. And we get this big thing of French fries. And he goes, oh, that one's yours. I got my own. And now we're just walking around this German mall and we're looking at the train. And there's this gorgeous cathedral. And I said, ooh, they're having mass. We should go in. And he was like, yes. He didn't say, no, I don't think so. He said, yes. And we're walking, walking, walking. And the gentleman says, we're to capacity. And I said, okay. Because there were so many people in there. There were like people at the door. There was no seating. And I said, okay. And he goes, well, let's just take a picture. I mean, like you said, pivot. Let's just take a picture outside. And ironically, years later, my girlfriend went to this place. I never told her I went. And she said, I went to this place. It's a big. I said, yes. And I sent her the picture of me and my son. She goes, oh, we went to the same places.
Wow.
So I look forward to life every day. This morning I was up at 3:30, just working on the new book, Liars, Locks, and Keys, and making sure that gets edited. And of course, I'm super excited about what's to come.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be a part 2 to the anthology, because I think there's more in us
Yes.
that can
Absolutely.
help others. And
Ab-
your story is amazing to me. Every time I look at that smile on your face, I have to say to myself, oh my God, look at her. She looks gorgeous. She smiles like the sun.
Yes.
Thank you. I do. I thank God for you. I think because
Thank you.
I know what it could be, and it's not that.
Absolutely.
And it's not that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, give us, thank you so much, sis. Give us some snippets on this new Liars, Locks, and Keys,
Ooh.
if you can.
Liars, Locks, and Keys has been a story in the making, I want to say, for about 16 years. And I
Wow.
started and I stop it and I start it and I stop it. But the character there, the main character, Corey. Corey is going through his life. Now you have to understand that in Corey's story in lies another story going on at the same time. So it's about him, but it's about someone else because he's watching someone else's life unfold as he watches his own unfold. And the things that are going on, he's kind of going, whoa, wait, this stuff is real. This is not movie stuff. And he realizes that the people that he's gone to high school with are insane. Um, as adults, they're insane. And you've got one guy, he's been stalking this girl since high school. She's got married, had kids, had bills, became an attorney, and he's still stalking her because his family is filthy rich and he wants her. She's a perfect woman for him. And nope. No.
Ooh,
You
that's
know, so
juicy.
yeah, you and then you got people who they're not quite fulfilled at home. And in their minds, it's like, well, he does it. So why don't I do it? Because I'm not happy.
Mhm.
And she does some things, but it's all about a voice. She hears a voice on the other end of the phone, and that voice is what draws her. And then when she sees the person, that attraction becomes, I want to say, mega, like a megalith. And then that's a whole nother story inside. Yeah, it's stories inside stories about people's lives and how they change each other's lives 360 degrees.
Ooh, that well, I am looking forward to that. And so that's January 2025.
That is January
Oh,
2025.
uh, that is, and since I want to ask you, and I don't think I said, thank you for your service because, you were you're an Air Force veteran, but this journey to relationships and helping people and being in the military and being an entrepreneur. I know your faith is strong, but what has been besides the Almighty, what has been the driving force for you to want to do so many different things?
People. I
Mm.
had no one to call when I was going through divorce and when I was
Yeah.
going through, because one of my ex-husbands actually lives in South Carolina, and I
It's like
said,
how you say one of my exes.
"Hey, this one," um, and he and I both agreed we got young, married. We got married young, but we
Yes.
didn't have the tools to
Yeah.
recognize what was broken wasn't really broken; it was bent.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing we did was divorce. But had we had the tools to start with and recognize it's bent, it's not broken, you fix what's bent
Right.
and then you move forward. So my passion to rebuild bridges and mend fences and then teach people how to master open, honest, vulnerable communication with their partner, that's what I want. Because I think if people know there's someone here for you, there was nobody here for me. But if someone's
Yeah.
here for you, isn't it worth it? Isn't it worth it to get out of a toxic relationship safe and unharmed? And know that there's somebody who can help you with that? Isn't it
Yeah.
worth it to help you identify when things aren't quite what you think they are? Isn't it worth it to know that something is not irrevocably damaged, but it can be fixed over time, not with a band aid, but with the surgery that's required? Wouldn't
Yeah.
you want somebody to help you? And that's what I wanted, but I didn't have that. I didn't have mentors at that time that says, "Hey, it's not broken." Like, well, if you guys feel like that, then just get a divorce. Bam.
Mm.
And it was simple for them, but not for us.
Right.
Because literally he hurt and I hurt. We just hurt at a distance. So when you're there, when the nobody's there to answer your questions or even just to bounce things off of, they don't have to say anything. You're in a space where everything's in your head and you're trying to answer your own questions. And if you're not serving God, then who are you going to? So
Mm.
what, you just talk to yourself? Imagine standing in the mirror and going, "Well, I really shouldn't eat this donut." No, you shouldn't eat this donut. Well, I like the donut, but I don't really like donuts with sprinkles. That makes you look psychotic.
Right.
So you talk to someone else who has the knowledge, the experience to go, "Yeah, let's talk. Let's you and I talk." And it's not one-sided. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I'm going to ask you specific questions and we're going to flush out what it is that needs to be done on both sides of that bridge in order to put that bridge back together or to build
Yeah.
a new one.
Absolutely. Ooh, I love that. I love that. And what other services do you offer with your clients?
I offer mediation for
Mhm.
small businesses and anybody who needs a mediation because sometimes you need an intermediary. I also do speaking engagements. I love doing speaking engagements for couples and for groups who want to be couples, but they don't know the actual roadmap. And I also officiate weddings. And usually, when I officiate weddings, everybody gets a poem, a special poem just for them. I actually just officiated a wedding at the Silburn Arboretum in Baltimore about, I want to say, a week and a half ago.
Mhm.
And I wrote this couple a poem, but it was an interactive poem for their village where the village had to repeat back what I said because they're talking to them. They weren't talking to me. And so I would say a line and then they would have to say it back as an echo. And what echoes do is they tend to go like this
Mm.
on the water, but they have to start here, which means that whatever's in the middle, it gets tighter around and it holds you close. So once I'm done with the ceremony, generally I will print it out on really pretty paper, put it in the frame, and give it to the couple themselves so that they can remember this was your day and this is how you started.
Yeah.
And when I walked up to,
Oh,
we were outside, and when I walked up to the front with the groom, we were walking together. And it's funny because they were rushing so much that I had to roll out the paper they were walking on, that special paper. I
uh-huh.
had to roll it out by with the groom's brother's help. I rolled out like 250 feet of this paper they had to walk on.
Oh my
And
goodness.
as I'm walking with the groom up to where we have to stop, I said, "Make me a promise." And I said, "Never look back.
Mm.
There's nothing there. It's the past for a reason.
Yes.
Never look back. It's history. There's nothing there because right now is the only moment that matters." And he looked me in my face and he said, "I promise." And as they stood there and he read his vows to her and she read her vows to them, I said, "What's the one thing I asked you to promise?" "I'll never look back." So I
Mm.
know that what I'm doing, when I do it, I could be have not eaten all day and that will fill me up because it feels good to know that it takes time to write poetry. Some people just write it off the cuff and I'm like, yeah, but where's the feeling? And I like to write a poem, and I have my trademark is kind of the first letter of
Mhm.
every word has a meaning. So it could be somebody's name,
Mm.
or it could be a title, or whatever is special to them. I make sure that the whatever those letters are on the first side, when you get to the end, it spells out whatever that is.
I love that. And I know that your words are powerful because you wrote something for another one of our sisters and it was just, it was like, I mean, it was just
Well, I have a
beautiful.
little
So that is
surprise. I
definitely
have
a
a little surprise for
blessing.
you.
Oh, you have a surprise for me?
I have a surprise for all 14 of you.
Oh, for all 14 of us. Oh, wow.
I have
Okay.
a surprise for all of you. So
You have
uh,
been working.
I keep trying to do that. I think it's a good thing to love each other, genuinely love each other.
Yeah.
There is so much hate and so much chaos. Um, when you sit down and you can eat a meal and you can laugh and you can just talk openly, it's better. It's freeing to
Yeah.
know that you can be surrounded by people who are paupers or who are millionaires, but if they sit and they just talk to, not at each other,
Mhm.
life will open up a whole new journey. You can find out so many things about a person if you just laugh with them
Yeah.
or cry with them.
Yes.
It's just that's, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is the absolute truth. And I wanted to make sure before we wrap up that I have anything. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about that we haven't talked about?
Well, I want to say that I am so happy to know all of these phenomenal women. They are all based in God. And they have a spirit and a journey about them that says this is not for me. This is for them.
Yeah.
And my hope and my prayer is that together we touch millions and millions of lives,
Yes.
locked in arms and locked in hearts for all eternity.
And I believe that we will because, we haven't read one another's chapters, but we've been talking about it and we've been going through this process the last several months, and so we've been emotional, we've been transparent, we've been open and honest about the struggle and what it means to be doing this. I mean, we've had some serious sessions.
Yep. Yeah.
the last couple of months. And so it's like, wow, the first, this it's gonna be so weird, like, next month not having
You can still come anytime you want to. We
right.
can Zoom all you want to. I don't mind driving to Maryland. That does not bother me. I come to Maryland so often. I had one girlfriend say, I don't understand why you just don't stay here because every time you turn around, you're coming back for a wedding. And
Right.
I have 3 weddings come. I have one coming up in October and then 2 more behind that, and they're all in Maryland. And I'm in North Carolina.
Right, right. That is so amazing. I mean, that is just so amazing because I know uh, when you were there, like the other week, we were chatting, and I was just like, I don't know how you are doing it, going back and forth. And
I take the train.
yes, I took the train to
I take the
Philly last week.
train.
And for the Women Elevating Women Conference, me and my Black Door Society sisters, and I was like, I hadn't been on the train in, I don't know, years. And I was like, oh, a 2-hour ride. This is the ticket. You have to worry about your luggage and, oh my
That's it. That's it. And when it's available, I will do business class because I
God.
know it's a lot less congested. It's very quiet.
Right.
And when I have to take longer rides, now if it's beyond 8 hours, I
Uh,
get a sleeping car because you have your own bathroom, you got a bed, you got your own view. They bring your food. Yeah, it's
oh,
oh,
we
you didn't know that?
gotta talk.
Oh,
No.
girl, please, girl, please. Oh yeah, uh-huh. My sister got to have good. Wait, I'm gonna be. How long will you be riding? No, 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 no. Sister need a sleeping car. Thank you. Two
Right.
beds. Thank you. My own bathroom. Thank you.
Yeah.
And you bringing me food. Thank you.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
because I never, besides I think the train to New York, for a play, but that was years ago. Because typically, somebody is always willing to like drive to New York. But now I know they have, the jet, and now I know, oh, the sleeping car. Okay.
Yes. If you take the Acela from Washington D.C. to New York, it's nothing. But that train is fast. It's
Right.
quiet, and the food. Yes. I took that train to Boston because I was flying out to the Azores to spend like 20 days with my son for my birthday. And I took the train. He was like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm taking the Acela." He goes, "Why don't you just fly?" Mm-mm. I took the Acela. I had the business class. I had a whole thing to myself where I set my laptop up, put my earbuds in, watched a movie, went to sleep, woke up, got to Boston, got off that train, went into the airport, checked in, got on my plane, on my way to the Azores. I
Wow.
had a great time. Had a great time.
Yeah.
Stopped in Canada. We had to stop in Canada, which I absolutely love. And stopped in Canada, got a snack, and then it was time to get on the plane again and gone. I
Wow.
love the train.
Well, yeah, that was new. I was like, oh, okay, this is the thing. I love it. I love it. And Dr. Darlene, let folks know how they. Well, wait, before we get to that, because I want to say, what else is next and coming? I know we have the Liars, Locks, and Keys for 2025, but because as a child, you had this vivid imagination of how you wanted to kind of like already curate your life. What else is on the
Yeah.
horizons? And then after that, let folks know how
Well, I'm
they
looking forward to a potential couples retreat somewhere in
can.
February. Yes, indeed. Looking for a couples retreat. It is absolutely phenomenal. I have the vision in the head. The couple retreat will last from a Friday to a Sunday.
Mhm.
I'm going to have certain speakers come out because I want workshops, but I don't want it to be where there's workshops and nobody can go to all of them. No, no, no.
Right, right.
Each workshop is going to be coordinated, and everybody's going to go to the same workshops. They're going to have workbooks, And I already have some miniature frames because somebody's gonna pull a gift. That my raffle tickets aren't tickets. They're gonna be inside a little, I want to say plexiglass stand. And when you scan it with your phone, it will tell you what you've won. And
Oh,
those will be the gifts. But also the gift is those that I'm inviting out to speak. We're going to be talking about physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, financial, and intimate as well. So we're
mm,
going to hit all 7 of those topics in all of those workshops. Men's health, uh, and I'm going to have a comedian. So I want to make sure that it's fun.
yes.
Check-in, um, my check-in for registration that Friday night, this is my vision. It will be a masquerade ball
Oh, nice.
because I want them to get in the mood of we're going to be intimate here. No, you're not going to sit next to your partner like this. You know, I want you guys to have a great night before, and that is going to be the orientation. Most people let the orientation go for breakfast. No, we're going to do the orientation of how the agenda is going to be laid out that evening,
Mhm.
and we're going to have some fun. Most people are going to be tired, but that's fine because their check-in is at 6. The event is at 8. It's only going to last till 10. And so they have a 2-hour window. And then the next morning we get up, we're going to have breakfast. And the fun begins with all the workshops.
Wow.
That Sunday before everyone leaves, we will hold some form of church
Mhm.
before they leave. And we're and somebody asked me, are we going to drag it out like a Baptist church? No, no, I know I'm from the South. There's not going to be a Baptist church thing. I promise. Promise. I promise. But it will be at least 30 minutes so that we make sure that our guests leave safely and arrive home safely. Make sure that they do some networking and
Mhm.
exchange of numbers and find some new friends. Not just don't just be in the room for yourself and merge energies in a way that hey, you know, I really like talking to that guy or that girl or that couple, and exchange information. And
Yeah.
that way, everybody leaves with what they need. What did you need? I needed to learn about men's health and how it affects my relationship. I need to understand finances and how it affects my relationship. I need to understand if I have a bad relationship with my children, but she has a great relationship with our children, how can we fix that? You know, am I controlling? Or am
Mhm.
I repelling? Or am I too lax and I'm trying to be the kid's friends instead of just being a parent? And
Mhm.
there's a thin line there. But also learning about the intimacy. It should never go away.
Yes.
It should never go away. Are you in love with this person or do you just love them because they make you feel secure? And
Mhm.
these hey, we're gonna play some games, but we're gonna get the education. So they're gonna have the entertainment, they're gonna have the education, and they're gonna have a couple of books to work with because I want my guests who are going to be speaking and teaching to bring their books to make sure that these couples get a lot of information, not just a little bit. So I'm putting it out there for some of our sisters. Hey, I'm going to need you in February. I don't know where you're going to be, but you know about finances and you know about recovery and you know about, and
Yeah.
everybody knows something because the idea is to stay connected. When we build each other up, when you build a wall, you don't use one brick to build a wall, you use many bricks to build that wall. And
Yeah.
each brick is on each other's backs to get higher and higher and higher. We cannot do anything alone. God never meant for it to be that way. That's why we have millions and billions of people on this planet. God never meant for us to be by ourselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, that is so exciting. That is so exciting. I can't wait. You're such a beautiful spirit on the inside and out. And so I just want to say just thank you for your continued service to humanity.
I try really hard.
You are definitely making, I mean, I know that you have a global network. You are definitely making such an important difference in the lives of the individuals that you touch. And so, just beautiful inside out. Thank you so much. And Dr. Darlene, how can folks reach out to you, find you on social media if they want to set up a consultation with you? How should they do that?
Well, to find me, I'm easy. You can find me on Facebook as Darlene Williams or Superior Love Forever, LLC. You can find me definitely at TikTok as Superior Love Forever and on Instagram as Superior Love Forever. But my website is superiorloveforever.com and my email is superiorloveforever@gmail.com.
And I love your website. It's so pretty. But not only that, you have testimonies, and so folks can really learn a lot about your work. So, thank you, Dr. Darlene, for being on the Stroke Diva Fabulous Show. It has just been a joy having you on. As you know, we can talk for a while.
Yes, we can, because you are my soror and I love you with my whole heart.
Yes, I love you too. And the thing is, I always say, oh, okay, the show, we have from 30 to, 60 minutes. But, when you have, when the conversation is flowing and you're just such a wealth of knowledge, I'm like, as long as my guest wants to keep talking, I am going to keep them talking.
Well, on that note, tell me what's coming up for you.
Well, so the next thing, we have this weekend coming up, the book launch, which I'm excited about because I started working on a book like back in 2011, and then I kind of got sidetracked. So this is perfect. And then next Saturday, I am actually trying out for a TED Talk. So I'm part of, there are about 19 of us, and it's the People's Choice Awards. So out of the 19, so the top 5 will go to the next level. There was a talent show like last June. So so 5 from that group and 5 from this group, we'll get to compete next year in a couple months, and then after that, the big talk. So I'm excited, and as I was sharing with you, I can read my notes every day. I can conceptualize it in my head, but I know when I get on stage, I'm probably only going to remember about 3 3 minutes.
Well, where is it being held? Is it somewhere that I can
Actually
come?
gonna be it's gonna be at Bus Boys and Poets in DC.
Columbia?
But actually the event is sold out. But I think I sent you the link because you can watch it virtually. I
You
didn't send
did
you
not.
the link.
No, you did not send me the link. If you
I
sent me the link, I would not be asking.
I could have sworn I sent you the link the day we talked.
No, you did not. But I'll go tell you what, I'll go through my email to double check because we both have that. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. But but I
No,
don't care.
it was a text message.
Oh, then yeah, I can't find it. Mm-mm. No, ma'am.
Well, you know what I've started doing with text messages, so that I don't forget something, I just pin it, and so I
How
can
do you
go.
do that? See,
Do
look,
you
see,
have an iPhone?
I do.
Oh my goodness! So when you get a text message, just or when you look at all your messages, just hold one and it says pin, and when you
Oh,
pin it, and you can do up to like 9.
and it won't go away.
And it won't go away because
Okay.
sometimes that's the only way I can keep track of certain things. And so I pin and unpin, pin and unpin.
Yeah, because I have like a myriad of messages. Either I'm sending them out and people are replying in rapid succession. I'm like, and
Yeah,
then of course, the group me is attached to the phone.
yeah,
So when it goes there, it goes there. And I'm like, wait, y'all gotta stop talking. I don't know what anybody's talking about.
yes,
And then I have to go into my computer to figure out, oh, that's what they're talking about.
yeah.
Okay.
And I have, a couple of group me's and a couple, it's just so yes, definitely pinning stuff. If I know it's something that's, an appointment that's coming up, or,
Right.
the stuff for the book, I just make sure it's pinned so that I can just reach it easily, because if not, we forget.
We do, and it's really exciting because something I mentioned in one of our meetings was about going to the next level with the Destiny Expose, and I did a little research, and we can put it on what's it called? Now, see, you made me forget. It's called one is I want to say Audible, and
Uh,
the other one is Galatea.
oh,
And
okay.
they're
I've never
both
heard that.
you can listen. Oh, I have both of them, and I listen to all this intellectual stuff on Audible, and I listen to the other garbage on Galatea. But they have good stuff. But I'm listening to murder mysteries and things on that one when I'm driving, or if I'm
Right.
just sitting in my office alone. I just plug that in my ear. It's like, okay, that'll keep my brain going. But it gets exciting after a while, because now you I remember driving back from Maryland in a storm because I'd done a wedding, and I was listening to this one book called Miss Penny, and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome! Wait a minute, don't go in that room." And I'm driving down the freeway. I'm like, "I told you not to go in that room. You just did not listen to me." And it's audible, so it's not like, and it's coming through the speakers, and
Right.
nobody's in the car with me because I'm driving and it's dark, and I'm like, "Okay, look, if I said not to go in the room, why did you go in the room? Now you're screaming, and why are you screaming?" And all of a sudden, she stopped screaming because she recognized what she saw, the silhouette,
Mhm.
is her image in the bathroom mirror.
Oh!
The light was off, so she thought somebody was standing there. And then when she flicked the light on, it was only her image in the bathroom mirror. And I thought to myself, how many times have people done that? Where they
Yeah,
scared themselves
yes. I have
because
done
they walked into
that.
a space and saw their shadow and it wasn't anybody there. So I was like, okay, this makes sense. But it's good in a way that I keep looking at not only how to elevate what we do,
Mhm.
but because I was the chairwoman and at some point the co-chair for the Inclusive Council for the Federal Emergency Management Agency, all
Mhm.
I ever think about is now how can people who are visually impaired pay attention to this book? They can listen to it.
Right.
How they don't have to use the braille, but if we put it in braille, then they have two ways to read this book,
Yes.
both in braille and they can just hear it. Well, how do people who are hearing impaired put the words across the screen, or let somebody audible once again listen to it? And
Yes.
they still get all 15 stories. They still get Judge Heard's forward because you can hear it. And when you're hearing things, think about it. This is close to your brain. So it goes right on in.
Yes, it goes right. And thank you for mentioning Judge Heard, because I have it written down in my notes and I didn't mention it. Our forward is by the Honorable Judge Wanda K. Heard, who is
Yes,
retired.
ma'am.
And so that in itself, and we are, as seen on Fox 45, and we're already, it's not even out yet, but we have already won an award. So we have
Yes, we are an award
award
winning group of people.
winning group of women. So this book, Destiny Expose, Leading Ladies Edition, is going to touch lives with our visionary author, Dr. Marcia Whitaker, who is
Yes.
also my Black Door Society sister. And she is just, Dr. Marcia
She's
is
a powerhouse.
a powerhouse.
She's
She is incredible.
she's an
She's
absolute
incredible.
powerhouse. I was like, I don't know where they plug her in at, but I need to, if she's one of those Teslas, I need to be plugged in too.
Yes. And I mean, she is, I was like, sis, when do you sleep? I mean, she is at it, she is at it. And a special shout out to her assistant Courtney, because Courtney has been working with us. I'm gonna meet with her today at 3:30 because I'm like, Courtney, I need some help.
Well, okay, so that the agenda is we have to have they're gonna ask us questions, and we're gonna be on a panel and all of
Yes.
this stuff. And so as you sit there and you think about that, what are your thoughts? You're going to be on a panel
I
and you
know.
have questions to answer.
Amazing.
And what did
Amazing.
she ask her? She said, "Pick what is your book me the main theme to your book?" And I was like, "Really? Really?
I can't even
We got
remember the
5 minutes
title
to
most
talk
of the
about
time.
that? We got 5 whole minutes to talk about that." I was like,
5 whole
"Okay."
minutes, and I'm always struggling to remember the name of my chapter. It's
Don't feel bad. You asked me mine. I had to go, what's the oh yeah, that's the name. That's the name. Because well, here's the thing though. The names of our chapters changed over time. They
yes,
were never static. They never
yes,
stayed.
yes.
Because when I named my chapter when it first went for editing, and then it came back as a suggestion to something else, and then I sent it back and it came back. And so when we finally landed, I was like, "What's the name? What's the title?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
so
because it
what's it?
wasn't
Okay,
the
thank you.
original, right? So that was like and I had like a list of like 10.
Oh
And
goodness,
I just could I
you're
could
asking too much. You're asking.
yes, and so I'm like, I
You're
gotta
asking
remember the
too much.
name. But
Oh
I
no,
mean, we launched this Friday. It's going to be so exciting.
it
Uh,
is.
thank you, sis.
That's
I
a good
can't
way to
wait
bring
to
in your weekend.
it is, and I can't wait to see you and give, my soror a big old hug because we have a jam-packed weekend with Dr. Tammy's event on
Yeah.
Saturday, which is with the Peace Summit. That's going to be awesome. So, last night I was posting on social media, we're already written, it's already been written in like Business Week. And I was like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 The
"Yay."
CEO weekly were in there, and I literally got up at 3 o'clock this morning, and I just started posting stuff. I was like, okay, I backed off for a minute because I was like, I don't. It's so much to do when you have more than one platform. I was like, if I just had Facebook, I'd be great, but I have all these other platforms.
All these other platforms. Yes,
Yeah,
I
and
wasn't
then you're
going to
trying
bed.
to
I didn't go to
remember
bed till
all.
like 4.
Yeah, I got up at 3:30. I started at 3:30. And so I'm thinking, okay, I'll post. I said later on this evening, I'll post some more. And so I was like, I remember Dr. Marcia and what we both do. We did the leadership experience and it says CBS News and Forbes and all these things. And I was like, yeah, I need Courtney to put all of that in a message because my brain is not they're not connecting on how do I grab this from here and put it there. No, that's a Courtney moment. She's the bright bulb in the room. I'm getting a little dimmer, but that's okay.
She
That's
is.
okay.
Because I'm like, I sent them a text. I was like, you all know I am not tech savvy. I was like, Courtney, I need you to physically hold my hand to walk me through this process.
Hey, walk me through this. Well, when you get done with her, send her my way. I tell you the truth. But it is an honor. It is
It
such an
is.
honor to know
Yes.
you
Yes.
and to oh my God, I feel so fortunate.
Me
Um,
too.
you all
Me too.
the other day when Dr. Marcia asked me to read the poem, she
Yeah.
sent me a text message for one. She sent it like 30 seconds before she said it on screen. So I wasn't prepared. And I remember allowing my husband to read it and he started to cry. And I was like, ooh,
It was
ooh.
beautiful.
Man, I said, should I tone it down? He goes, no, this is perfect. So when I recognize that I'm starting to understand that I don't read what I write. So
Ah,
it doesn't
okay.
affect me the same. And so when she asked me to read it, that's why you heard me get choked up because I was like, oh, okay, get calm. It's okay. Just read. Because I was about to start crying. I was like, oh my God. But I wanted her to know her village surrounded her.
Yes.
And the power that we have as a village is so much stronger than a
Yes.
power of one.
Absolutely. That
And I
is
know that
well
she's a
said.
minister, but look,
Absolutely.
she's human,
Mhm.
and you lose somebody that close to you. Yeah.
That's yeah, you just so I mean it was perfect. It was perfect. So thank you for that.
So
Thank
yeah,
you for
I
that.
sent it to Dr. Marcia for vetting, and she's like, "Don't change
Mm.
anything. And she goes, I said, well, I told you, I started writing poetry at 4.
Wow.
And then I started writing music, like not just lyrics, but actual music. And because I love music.
Mm.
I used to actually perform and I opened up for some big name people before when I lived in California and a
Yeah.
couple of places. And singing makes when I'm in my space, and I don't mean like at home, but I mean like space.
Hmm.
I can sing anything a cappella. I can just start singing because it feels good. That it to me, singing is like when something is rising up and it just explodes, you
Yes.
know.
I was not
And I'll sit at a red light and I'll feel some kind of way and just start singing. And I know I've surprised I surprised my guy because he's sitting there and we're going somewhere and I just break out in song and it's kind of like, oh, okay, keep going.
that is
No radio, no, I don't need anything to amp me up. There's no what do you call it? Nobody's cueing me in.
right.
I just it's there and I just start bringing it out.
Wow.
And sometimes it's a little kid song that I learned in Bible school and sometimes it's something else. So it's
Wow.
always fun. I
That,
know that when I do sing, I remember one story. I was in elementary school
mm,
and I was 8 and we had an auditorium at Ready Elementary and I didn't walk to the microphone. I walked past the microphone and I literally projected all the way to the back of the auditorium.
oh my,
And I was singing the first Noel. And I remember the principal walking up to me and she goes, little girl, where'd you get that from? I said, I have no idea. I just like this song. I just like this song. She said,
wow.
but we never got a chance to turn on the microphone. I said, oh, nobody can hear you. She said, everybody heard you.
Everybody heard you.
People heard you in the office. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be too loud. She goes, no, you were perfect. You were perfect. So they put me in plays and everything else. And I actually just did a play last year out here. We did a remake of the play called The Outsiders. And I played the doctor role in The Outsiders. And
Oh,
it was awesome. And then I was a couple of movies. I did one movie in one part of North Carolina and another movie in Charlotte. So yeah,
wow.
I do a little bit of everything. I was in the Power Rangers. I was in the Ninja Turtles.
That is amazing. And you told me that, and I totally forgot about that. Yes.
So
Yeah.
I think I have a lot to be grateful for because
Oh,
everybody doesn't get those kind of experiences. They just
absolutely.
don't. They
Absolutely.
don't. And so
Absolutely.
I'm thankful every single day. And it's going to be my pleasure, my honor, and my joy to give you a big hug.
Yes, yes, big hug. Love you pieces. Thank you so much,
Love
Sormore.
you to
Thank you for
pieces.
being on the Stroke Diva Fabulous Show. Now we have been going for an hour and 23 minutes and counting, and I'm looking and it still says that things are uploading. But there, I did notice sometimes your audio went in and out a little bit. So I don't know if
Hmm.
that's what was going on, why we're not uploaded 100%. So we may have to
Well,
do
I'm not
it.
tech
I
savvy, so
don't
don't
know.
look. I don't know anything about Riverside. I'm not tech savvy. You got if you want tech savvy wrong soror, you got to find another one. That's not me. If you want food made, if you want songs, if you want poetry, if you want somebody to
Right,
exercise with, I'm your girl.
right, right. The text. So
Tech,
I'm
mm,
not
to the
exactly
left, to the
sure
left. That
what's
ain't me.
right. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but we could probably condense it to 30 minutes if we had to. If for some
If
reason,
we had to.
yeah, if for some reason it's just been uploading, this whole hour. So We will see. But we've had such a great conversation. I'm not doing any editing. Everything you said was just so powerful and I just thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, beautiful spirit. Thank you. So, thank you
You're welcome.
everyone
You're
for
welcome.
tuning in to another edition of the Stroke Diva Fabulous Show. I am your host, Kamaria Richmond, and can't wait for this weekend with the Destiny Expose, next weekend with the TEDx, and then I will just be smiling because, at least for me, two major things I've always wanted to do will have been done. But of course, my Destiny Expose sisters, we are, tagged for life because we are talking about, you know, uh, the second book
Number
already.
two. Number two. This is volume one. We're looking for
Volume one.
volume two.
Yes, we are talking about volume two.
So there's always more to share.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so for folks that can't make it to Columbia this Friday, it's going to be on Facebook Live. So there are ways to, and I'll put those in the show notes. There are ways for people to connect and get a copy of Destiny Expose, The Leading Ladies. Thank
Yes.
you, Soror. Have a
Thank you.
wonderful day, and I'll see you tonight.
I'll see you tonight. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Thanks, everyone. Have a fabulous day.
You too.